being held by chamber. It has been formulated with an intention to give the trailer. जैसे पिक्चर चालू होता है तो उसके पहले ट्रेलर होता है. That's how this half-day course has been proposed to give the trailer so that everybody would be have some background that what is about GST, because this is totally a game-changing law which is come into the near future and which would be reality very soon. So now we all of us have to now start counting every day how many days have left, how many hours has left, how many minutes have left to begin with the new law which is known as the Goods and Services Law. In the first session, Vikram Bhai has told us that many laws have been subsumed into the GST. Mainly the laws which are affecting on the levies which are there on the goods as well as on the services, they all are subsumed, and which is known as a GST. Vikram Bhai said that he will try to be at a lower level to explain you the things. That difficulty I do not have, because I am also like a student, like all of you. Only the difference is that at my home I do not allow to speak. That's why I am here to speak before all of you, because ultimately somewhere or other inner things has to come out. That's why I am here and to give you the things. Coming to the subject proper of the filing aspects under the GST. So what is the filing? Filing is the return. How return is to be filed. So first and basic question, whether do I need to file return? Obviously yes, there is no escapement. Everyone, whatever is the law, whether it's an income tax, whether it's direct tax or an indirect tax, return needs to be filed. Why? What is the need of filing return? So that assessing officer will be able to judge whether the self-assessed return has been properly filed, tax has been discharged correctly, input tax credit has been taken in a proper manner, so that the assessment of that transaction is carried out in a proper manner. So return has to be filed. Then the next question, who has to file the return? Naturally, every person who is registered under the GST law needs to file a return. Very simple reply. Now, what kind of return? Now, under the GST law, certain statements is also known as a return. So, what he has to file? Outward details of outward supply, details of inward supply, and finally the return for the prescribed tax period. So, what do you mean by prescribed tax period? A month period. That means return has to be filed monthly, and 3 returns has to be filed. I will use the term as a return instead of a statement. So details of outward supply, details of inward supply, and finally the return. 3 returns has to be filed in a month. Then UN agencies also have to file the return for the month during which they make the purchases. Now the question is, why this UN agency? Who are these UN agencies? Can anyone tell me who is this United Nations agency? They have been designated in each and every country to carry out certain sovereign function of the whole nation. When they are doing the station in India, they are not providing basically any services or selling the or supplying the goods or supplying the services. But in turn, they may be procuring certain goods and services, like say for example, telephone services. On that, GST must have been paid. So in order to claim back those taxes, they are required to file the return, because unless and until you file the return, you are not going to take the refund. You are not eligible to take the refund. Then common return is prescribed for the CGST, SGST, IGST and UGST law. At present, what happens? Under the excise law, you have to file the return, monthly return you have to file. Under the VAT law, you have to file either monthly return or a quarterly return. And in the service tax law, you have to file half-yearly return. So if a manufacturing concern is there, they have to file 3 returns under 3 different laws. Now what it says, only a single return has to be filed, which is comprising of CGST, SGST, IGST and UGST. So what is the difference between two? Under the earlier law, excise law, say for example, example of a manufacturing unit which is having 5 units at different parts of India. Then under the excise law, 5 units has to be registered. When those 5 units are registered, Under 5 units, they have to file the return and pay the tax on a monthly basis. In respect of under the VAT, even those 5 units has to be registered under the VAT law. 5 returns has to be filed in the different states. Under the service tax law, again 5 units. Then under the service tax option is there whether you to file register your unit separately, decentralized unit, or centralized registration is there, and they have to file the return. So what will happen? That you manufacturing unit have to appoint 5 different consultants in 5 different states because state laws are different. Now it won't be like that. By sitting over in your office, a consultant or a chartered accountant can file the return from all over the state wherever registration of that person is there. And there are only a single return has to be filed. So it's a very good and welcome change that now the India would become a hub. The only one place would you are sitting in India in any part of the world and you can file return from any place. Previously it was not possible because a consultant who is sitting in the state of Maharashtra, he doesn't know the law of the state law of Haryana. He cannot file it. But now that kind of problem will go. Now let us see which are the types of return. So first return is the outward supply. So as I have told you that every registered person have to furnish details of outward supply electronically. That means now the return has to be filed electronically. No manual return has to be filed. Everyone has to file the return electronically through the common portal either directly or through a facilitation center. So now you know that those who are practicing under the VAT or a service tax, facilitation center is created so that those who do not have that capability or then they can go to the facilitation center, give their data and they can upload the return. This outward supply has to be details has to be given for the affected during the period and affected during any earlier tax period for each registered place. That means this outward supply is nothing but your sales register. You have to upload your sales register of the sales which you have carried out in that particular month. If there is any addition or deletion of any data of an earlier tax period, that also needs to be provided in the current month's outward supply. And this return outward supply has to be filed for each registered place. That means if 5 units are located all over India, 5 such returns has to be filed. So next question, when this return has to be filed? It says on the 10th of the next month. So presuming that from the July 2017, this GST law comes into existence, that means for the month of July, sales register or an outward supply register has to be filed by the before 10th of August 2017. So 10 दिन में हमें ये return sales register file करना है. Right? Now, this return need not to be required to be filed by input service distributor or non-resident taxable person or a registered taxable person who is discharging tax liability under composition levy. Composition levy, that means they have for the small traders or a small SSE, an option has been provided by the GST that if your turnover is below 50 lakhs rupees, then you can discharge your tax liability. For manufacturers, some 2.5% has been provided. For traders, it's 1% provided, and that is how you have to discharge the tax. That is known as a composition levy. Then fourth one is a person who is required to deduct tax. Who are those persons? It says that if a supplier is there, he is supplying the goods or services to any government enterprise or a government authority or a government department, then in that case, government will first of all deduct the TDS, just like an income tax TDS or VAT TDS, and after deduction, he will remit the money to the supplier. So all those people, that means the government agencies or department, even they need not have to file this outward supply register. Next is a person who have to collect tax at source. TDS are there and now TCS. So who are the person who is to collect the tax at source? That means the person who is selling the goods through electronic commerce operator. Electronic commerce operator means Flipkart, Amazon, those who are selling through that electronic websites. When they are supplying the goods to this Flipkart, then Flipkart, what we will do, whatever money they are collecting on behalf of that supplier, they will first deduct the money and then remit it to the supplier. So this is known as tax collection at source. Even those electronic commerce operator need not have to file this outward supply register. That means who then will be required to file? All manufacturers, all traders. But in reality now everyone is a taxpayer. Now there is no differentiation between manufacturer and traders because now excise law is gone. Because of the excise reason, the word manufacturer is there. That's why this problem is there. Now everyone is a taxpayer. There is no differentiation between a trader, manufacturer, first stage dealer, second stage dealer, nothing. Everyone is alike. Now what details needs to be provided in this outward supply? First, invoice-wise details of all interstate and intrastate supply made to a registered taxable person. Now Vikram Bhai has explained what do you mean by interstate supply. Whenever the supply is made from the Maharashtra state to the Gujarat state, when the two states are involved, it is known as an interstate supply. And what is intrastate supply? Within the Maharashtra, person who is in the state of Maharashtra supplies the goods to a person who is in the state of Maharashtra. That means within the state, it is known as an intrastate supply. So the details of interstate as well as intrastate supplies made to the registered taxable person needs to be provided. Second, interstate supplies with an invoice value of more than rupees 2.5 lakhs made to the unregistered person. That means if I am selling it to any unregistered person whose invoice value is more than 2.5 lakhs rupees, I have to show it separately. That means separate invoice wise detail has to be given. Then second is the consolidated details. Consolidated in details in respect of all intrastate supplies made to an unregistered person for each rate of tax. Now what do you mean by this intrastate supply for consolidation? Take an example in a mall. Big Bazaar. What Big Bazaar is doing? They are supplying the goods to a non-registered. We go to the Big Bazaar and buy the goods. Now, whenever we go, whether we will ask what is your TIN number or what is your GST. No, they don't have that much of time. So what they will do? They know that my supply is less than 2.5 lakhs rupees, and I am an unregistered person. It will be deemed like that, and they will not issue me a tax invoice. Otherwise, all these grocery shops, they will find it very difficult. So that's why it says consolidate. That means at the end of the day, they will do the totaling and then they will provide the detail that these are the sales which are made to the unregistered dealer. Then state-wise interstate supplies with invoice value of less than 2.5 lakhs rupees made to an unregistered person for each rate of tax. Likewise, in respect of an interstate supply whose value is less than 2.5 lakhs rupees, you can give the consolidated detail. Third one, debit note and credit note, if any, issued during the month for which invoice was issued previously. Now, when this debit note or credit note is issued, whenever there is a revision in the price or the invoice, at that point of time, debit note or credit note is issued. Now, say, take an example. If I have sold the goods to Vikram Bhai, I have supplied the goods. I have to now change the terminology. You don't have to use the sold or purchase. You have to say supplied. I have supplied the goods to Vikram Bhai of say 1 lakh rupees. Now after that, Vikram Bhai says, you are very good friend of mine, we have given the lecture together. Please give me a discount of 10%, and he has directly remitted me the amount of 90,000 rupees. Now do I need to have to issue the debit note or credit note? Yes. We have to issue the debit note or credit note, otherwise that transaction will not match. अब तक क्या हो रहा था, हम ऐसे ही करते, फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट एक जर्नल एंट्री डाल दी, लेजर अकाउंट में 10,000 डिस्काउंट, मैटर एंड्स. टैक्स की क्रेडिट, वी नेवर थिंक अबाउट टैक्सेस, बट नाउ इट सेज एवरीथिंग हैज टू बी राउटेड थ्रू एन डॉक्यूमेंट व्हिच इज नोन एज आइदर इनवॉइस, डेबिट नोट और क्रेडिट नोट. So that what will happen, that the tax effect which will be there to the Vikram Bhai, because what will happen if I don't issue the debit note, Vikram Bhai will enjoy the tax credit on whole 1 lakh rupees and government will not get anything. So that's not a right way. That's why everything has to be by way of a debit note, credit note or invoice. Now what he tries to say that we have to give invoice wise detail. That means if during the tax period, that means during the month, 1000 invoice has been issued, one has to give the details of whole 1000 invoices. So that means what it tries to say, now everything is a technology based law. We can't do manually anything. For that matter, tally person Ashwin Bhai is here. He will explain you that from software how to extract the detail in a proper manner so that ultimately it will be converted into a desired these details and it can be uploaded. Because you just imagine within the 10th day we have to compile all this information. This is only I am talking about the sales side. Then I will go to the purchase side. Then that has to be filed. This is also a challenging to all our professionals. Don't you think in the first 10 days, if you are having only 100 clients, how you will manage it? It's mind-boggling. So you have to ultimately depend on what? Technology. So this is nothing. So GST is a technological base. This is the first very important thing. It's a technology-driven law. If you are failing understanding the technology or adapt to the technology, you won't be able to practice. Next, then other features I will tell you. Registered taxable person is not allowed to furnish any details of outward supply during the period from 11th to 15th of the month succeeding the tax period. That means he is not allowed to again file after the 10th. 11 से 15 तारीख के बीच में he cannot upload anything. 10th तक उसे upload करना है. 15 के बाद he can do it. Now why? Because whenever I sold the supply the service, goods or services to Vikram Bhai, that is my outward supply. So I will upload it before 10th. Now what will happen? That statement which I have uploaded, that will go to the Vikram Bhai because that is an outward and that is for him it is an inward supply. An inward supply is to be filed before on the 15th of the next month. In detail I will come into the some period of time. So that's why this date of 11th to 15th is there, that period I cannot file. Then if the commissioner is for any reason, now this 10th period is very difficult for any class of person, then they may approach to the commissioner that you please extend this time period of 10, and the commissioner after giving an opportunity of being heard may extend the time period for such taxable person as may be notified. Then it says that the detail of outward supply furnished by the supplier shall be made available electronically to the concerned recipient in Part A of Form GST or 2A after the 10th of the next month. That means GST and network, whatever supplies, outward supply I have submitted over that they will give it to the Vikram Bhai. So 1 lakh rupees का Vikram Bhai के dashboard पे आ जाएगा that I have purchased the goods from Ashit Shah worth rupees 1 lakh rupees. Now what will happen? On receipt of the details in Form GST or 2 of inward supplies, recipient may add, correct or delete if any in the details after the 10th of the next month. That means if Vikram Bhai feels that 1 lakh rupees is not correct, 90,000 is the right thing, who will say I have discussed with you that I will give you 90,000, but then also you have issued me 1 lakh, so I will make the correction. So then he will carry out the correction and say 90,000 rupees. And he will again send it back to me. All these things will be done electronically. No human intervention would be there. So that's what he has to do. After 10, he has to do the correction in the statement if it is there. Then now, supplier, that means me, I have to accept or reject the details so communicated on or after the 17th but not before 15th of the next month, and on such acceptance details would be amended. Now Vikram Bhai was changed to 90,000, that again will be coming to me. Then I have an option, either I have to accept 90,000 is the correct value or I may reject it. So if I accept it, then my sales will be 90,000 rupees and on that my outward registered would be changed. But suppose if I say, so no, Vikram Bhai, you are not saying correct. I have told you I will charge 1 lakh rupees, means 1 lakh rupees. Then that transaction will not match. Then what is to be done? Let's see. If any details furnished for any tax period and remains unmatched, supplier shall upon discovery of any error or omission rectify such error or omission. That means now I will start calling Vikram Bhai, sir, मैंने 1 लाख ही बोला था, you please say 1 lakh rupees only, and he will say नहीं 90,000 ही है. So now a communication will be between both of us. 6 महीना निकल गया, 6 महीने के बाद ultimately agreed कि चलो let us accept at 95,000 rupees. So now both will amend it. Now after 6 months again I have to change my thing and both of us will have to transaction would be made after a period of 6 months period of time. Now if at that point of time, if there is any tax liability which needs to be discharged by me, I have to discharge it along with interest. Otherwise nothing. So what it suggests, it's a matching transaction. Another very good concept of GST is a matching concept. If there is no matching, you are not allowed to get that transaction. तो आपका मैचिंग के बगैर काम नहीं होगा. वो मैचिंग कैसे होगा? आपका एवरी टाइम थ्रू इलेक्ट्रॉनिकली. ठीक है? If there is a short payment, supplier is liable to pay tax and interest if any. Now third one, ये तो भी कोई error हो गया. If there is any error in filing the outward supply detail, then when it has to be amended or corrected, then the law says that rectification in the detail which has been permitted has to be done before the due date of furnishing the return for the month of September following the end of the financial to which details pertains, or furnishing of the annual return whichever is earlier. So now in the month of August 2017, there was a problem in that transaction. Instead of 1 lakh rupees, 90,000 has been recorded. Now even that net needs to be corrected. That correction can be made, and I will get the time till next September 2018. That return is due on the 20th of the October. So till 20th October, I have a chance to correct the transaction between myself and Vikram. Otherwise, or furnishing of the annual return. Now this is the one more return which needs to be filed. Annual return, that means at the end of the year, one annual return has to be filed by which due date is 31st day of December 2018. Till that period of time, annual return. So whichever is earlier, I can do any rectification. But then later on, there is no rectification. So another unique thing which has come out, that there is no concept of revised return which is there under the present law. Revising of return नहीं है कुछ भी. Everything is live. Back date में कुछ काम नहीं करना है. No revision. अभी बैक में कैसा है? कितने टाइम रिटर्न रिवाइज करते हैं विक्रम भाई? Unlimited. बिंदास करते रहो. Such kind of things are not there. Under service tax law, yes, 90 days time limit is permitted, but वहाँ भी फिर problem है. After 90 days, if you wanted to change anything, you can't do anything. Then service tax authority comes with your place. This is the problem. Now you have not rectified, so I will penalize you. But then you will say, sir, you are not allowing me to rectify it because you just given 90 days period of time. This is a very short period of time. So ये सारे problems यहाँ अभी solve हो जाएंगे. There is no revision. Plus the time period is also very substantial, which has been provided. Okay, sir. So this is as regards the rectification of the details which has been furnished. Now this is the format of the return which is there. So what kind of details you have to furnish? First of all, GSTI number. This is the base thing. Now this would be the auto-populated thing. Then name of the taxable person. So serial number 1 and serial number 2 is auto-populated. Once you are logging into your ID, then automatically it would be auto-populated. That means you cannot log in and file the return for the another person. I cannot file the return of Vikram Bhai. But nowadays Indian mind is fertile. That's what Vikram Bhai is saying. I can hack his password and file the return. जैसे कुछ मुकेश अंबानी का return hack कर लिया and he can file the return. So that is possible. Then aggregate turnover of the taxable person in the previous financial year. Now this would be required only in the first financial year. No, every time this return needs to be, this detail needs to be furnished. Why it is required to be furnished? Because if my turnover is below the threshold 20 lakhs rupees, I will come to know what is the turnover. Now in the first return, this will not be applicable, right? Or it would be applicable. Because here it says aggregate turnover. If you read the definition of aggregate turnover, we have to take into consideration of all the sales and purchases, sales throughout the whole of India, which is at present not there. So I think in the first return this won't be applicable. Then fourth one is the period for which month and year this return needs to be filled. Then certain details. First is the taxable outward supply to a registered person. So whenever you are providing the supplying the goods or services to a registered person, you have to fill in this detail. Only how many rows? This many rows needs to be filled. What are these? First one is GSTN or UTN number. So this is mandatory. So in every invoice, this detail needs to be filled in. GSTN is the registration number. UIN number that has been given to this United Agencies. So this is the difference. Then what you need to do? Invoices. Their number has to be there, date, value, goods or goods, whether it's a goods or services. Then HSN or SSE. This is very important. This HSN code was till now was knowing only by the units which are under the excise. क्योंकि उनके लिए वो HSN code was mandatory. For trader it was not mandatory. Now it says that all the classification of the goods and services would be based on this HSN number. So you have to first of all obtain the HSN number of that commodity. Then and then you can proceed. Now why this HSN code is important? This is important so as to classify that product under which category it falls. Under the existing law, so many disputes are going on in respect of the classification. Hair oil and edible oil. Right, Vikram bhai? Too much problem. Whether it's an edible oil or whether it's an hair oil. If it's an hair oil, it becomes a cosmetic item and higher rate of tax is there. If it is an edible oil, then it would be at a lower rate of tax. And you know that every businessman would always like to pay the lower rate of tax. So he will always say it like that. So in order to not to have any such classification problem, they have said that we will go as per the HSN code. Whatever is the HSN code, accordingly the tax rate would be defined. Then SSE, that means the service accounting code. Those who are practicing in service tax, they must be aware that they have given the numbers. How many services are there at present? Hello? कितनी सर्विस है?
All except 17 negative.
But how many numbers has been given? 119 numbers has been given. So that 119 numbers has to be used over here. It may so happen that certain services which are there, they may not cover under the list of that 119. Then you have to say it's a other taxable service, and that number has to be provided. Then next, whether that transaction would apply IGST, CGST or SGST. That means that the supplier has to decide whether IGST would be applicable, that means it is an interstate transaction, or whether it's an intrastate transaction, then CGST and SGST would be applicable. Then they have to do the bifurcation rate and amount. That means rate of duty needs to be applied and then it would be directly multiplied over here. Then next column is POS. Only if the different from the location of the recipient. This would be applicable only when there is a place of supply rules are there. Vikram bhai was saying that on the instruction of third party, some material has been provided to the third party. Then we have to see the location of that supplier and the recipient of the service, and accordingly there needs to be provided. So that location needs to be provided over here. Then next column is indicative supply attracts reverse charge. Now you know that the government has obtained the power to notify certain category of supply of goods or services to be taxed under the reverse charge basis. That means the person who receives the goods or services, then they have to say that yes, I am discharging the tax liability under reverse charge mechanism. Now since it is under the output side, so this presupposes that the supplier who receives the goods or services from an unregistered person, he has to first issue the invoice and then the detail needs to be come over here. So what will happen? If I am a private limited company going in into a restaurant for having the meal, and that hotelier is not a registered person under the GST, and what will happen? He will issue me a bill. Naturally, I have to debit in my books of account. When I debit my books of account, that person is an unregistered person. That means that as a private limited company, I have to discharge the tax liability in the reverse charge mechanism because that person is an unregistered person. Lot of work was there for us. President was saying for next 10 years there will be a lot of work. I am saying for next 50 years there will be a lot of work. Because the law will first of all settle in the next 10 years, and then all the problems will start, litigation will start. So next 50 years, all professionals will have maja hai. Provided you learn the law. Then tax on this invoice is paid, that we said, and GST and of e-commerce operator if applicable. Now you know that e-commerce operator under reverse charge they have to pay, so that number also needs to be provided. So this is what all about the information which we need to provide. Now naturally all this information we cannot do it manually. Is it possible? No. So for that matter, our accounting software which is there in the system, that should be very robust. That should extract all this information in a proper manner and compile before the 10th so that we can file the return. Okay. So for that matter, Tally guy Ashwin bhai is here. He will guide us how to go about it. Then amendment to details of outward supply to a registered person of earlier tax period. Now I have said that whenever there is any amendment, it has to be by of a issuance of debit note or credit note. So that detail needs to be done over here. Now at that point of time, you will observe that we have to also give the original invoice and revise our original. That means we have to take the transaction. Say for example, 1 lakh rupees I have said, issued the invoice to the Vikram by in the month of August 2017. September में October महीने में वो transaction settle हो गया and I have issued the debit note, so I have to give the reference of that also while issuing the debit note. So every transaction has to be tagged. This is the another unique feature of GST. Matching, tagging, then technology driven law, all these are the peculiarities of this GST law and all other details are the same. Then taxable outward supplies to a consumer where place of supply is other than the state where supplier is located and invoice value is more than rupees 2.5 lakhs rupees. That means interstate transaction and the supplier is not registered, then you have to give all these details. Then amendment to taxable outward supplies to a consumer. Whenever there is an amendment, this table needs to be filled up. 7th table is in respect of taxable outward supply to a consumer other than 6 above. That means all unregistered dealer, whether intrastate or interstate, have to be put it over here. Then amendment to the outward supply to a consumer of earlier tax period. So if you see here, 7th is the original, 7A is the amendment. So it goes in that manner. First of all, original things during that tax period needs to be provided, and then amendment if there is any in the invoice, then that has to be provided in the table which is below. Then the details in respect of nil rated, exempted and non-GST outward supply. So what will my nil rated supply? Nil rated supply, it has been defined, or a zero rated supply. That means on which there is no tax. That means when you are exporting the goods or services, it covers under zero rated tax. Exempted means those which are wholly exempt from the GST, that would become over here. So we have to give the details whether such exempted or nil rated are in respect of interstate, intrastate, registered, unregistered, and give the full detail. Now why this is required? This details is required so that at the end of the year, total of this sum would be taken and then it would be tallied with your financial statement. So in your financial statement, if all the total of exempted, nil rated, taxable, non-taxable is 100 rupees, then this total should be 100 rupees. If there is any difference, then you have to explain why there is a difference. Supplies to export, this now or a deemed export, this detail needs to be provided. Then that amendment has to be provided in table number 10A. Then tax liability arising on account of time of supply without issuance of invoice in the same period. Now what it says, that in respect of services, like say AMC contract, first of all people will say that first of all you give me the money. एक साल का contract रहता है air condition maintenance का, so he will take the money in advance, but the invoice he will issue at a later date. Then pursuant to this GST law, whenever you have received the money in advance, you have to discharge your tax liability. So that you have to first of all furnish it over here. Then amendment to tax liability arising on account of time of supply without issuance of invoice in the same tax period, and tax already paid on advance receipt on account of time of supply on invoices issued in the current period. So the current period may issue किया है, but tax has been paid in earlier, and that detail needs to be put it over here. 13th is the supplies made through an e-commerce portal or other companies, and then amendment thereof. And last 14th is the invoices issued during the tax period, including invoices issued in case of inward supplies received from unregistered person liable to pay tax under reverse charges. So only 14 tables needs to be furnished in respect of outward return. But don't worry, everything is automatic. What you have to do, you have to observe that whatever I am extracting the data, that goes in a proper place. So आपको कुछ मेहनत नहीं करनी है. Everything would be done by the system itself. If your system doesn't work, then believe me, you are out. Now what we have seen up to only the outward supply, that means sales side. अभी देखते हैं purchase side, very important purchase side. Let's see that. So again here, every inward supply detail, a registered taxable person has to furnish details of inward supply electronically through the common portal or through a facilitation center affected during a tax period and affected during an earlier tax period for each registered place, same like an outward supply. ये कौन से फॉर्म में भरना है? इसका फॉर्म नंबर है GSTR 2. 2 नंबर के फॉर्म में ये परचेजेस करना है. When this return has to be uploaded on or before 15th of the next month. तो सेल साइड अपलोड करनी है 10, परचेज साइड का फिर 11th को आपको डिटेल मिल जाएगी. 15th को आपको ऑन द दैट बेसिस आपको इनवर्ड सप्लाई फाइल करना है. दैट मींस आपके परचेजेस साइड करने हैं. Who are not required to file, same in respect of outward supply, it is given over there, so I am not repeating. Now what details needs to be furnished? First, inward supplies of taxable goods or services or both, that means whatever purchases or procurement of goods or services, that detail you need to give. Inward supply of goods or services or both on which tax is discharged in the reverse charge mechanism, that also because ultimately you are getting the credit of the same. Inward supplies of goods or services or both taxable under IGST Act, that means if there is an interstate transaction, then integrated tax has to be paid, so IGST Act, or on which tax is payable under section 3 of the Customs Act. Whenever you do any high seas transaction, so tax has to be paid pursuant to the on the value as determined under the Customs Act 1975, and you have to discharge the tax liability. So all that high seas transaction detail needs to be provided. Debit or credit note received in respect of such supply. Actually, when I am supplier is issuing the debit note or credit note, similar manner, another person also receive the debit note or credit note. Further, now it says the debit or credit note received in respect of such supplies during the tax period after the 10th, but on or before 15th of the succeeding period. That means they have to apply only after the 10th only, but before the 15th, otherwise they cannot file their outward supply. Then after giving this detail, now they have to also give the details of the input tax credit, which is very important. If the input tax credit is not properly dealt in, then what will happen? Cost will be increasing and you are losing the your profit. Now what it says that the recipient goods or services or both shall specify the inward supplies which is not eligible for ITC. That means input tax credit set off जिसके ऊपर allowed नहीं है. Now one of the fundamentals of the introduction of GST was that there should be a seamless credit should flow from one person to another person. That means no, there is artificial disallowances should be there, which is there at present under the existing law. But from looking to the fine print, ये प्रॉब्लम जो पहले था वो भी आज भी है. जो आज के वैट एक्ट में इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट या सेट ऑफ एलिजिबल नहीं है, वो अभी भी नहीं है. फॉर एग्जांपल मोटर कार, पता नहीं मोटर कार के ऊपर क्यों डिपार्टमेंट को गुस्सा है कि मोटर कार के ऊपर सेट ऑफ ही नहीं देते, वैट नहीं, सर्विस टैक्स नहीं, एक्साइज नथिंग. डोंट नो. अच्छा है, अदरवाइज टुमारो इनकम टैक्स विल डिपार्टमेंट आल्सो वी विल नॉट अलाउ यू डेप्रिसिएशन because you are not using for the business under the VAT laws or under the excise laws, so we will not give you. Let's hope nobody is from the income tax department, CBDT se nahi. So that is the problem. फिर whatever tax credit which is there for constructing an immobile property, no set off. So such kind of artificial disallowance should not be there, but unfortunately we have it. So the inward supply, whenever he say he has to identify which credit is not eligible, तो इसको credit नहीं लेंगे. यहाँ human intervention आएगा, यहाँ you did not have to observe. So from the available list you have to identify which credit is not eligible. Then if he has to also determine the quantum of ineligible ITC which is relatable to a non-taxable supply for the purpose and for the purpose other than business. Now the laws provide that if you are providing taxable and non-taxable supply, then you are not eligible to take the credit in respect of that component which is used for non-taxable. That means they wanted to give the credit only for taxable portion. Similarly, if you are using the supply for non-business purpose, that means personal purpose, then in that respect they say we will not give you the credit. That also has to be identified that this credit is not eligible. So यहाँ human intervention आ जाएगा. So each and every transaction you have to see how it will take place. Now in respect of second, if it is used for other than business, how we will identify? Take an example of a banquet hall owner whose main business is to let it that banquet hall. सबको भाड़े पे जगह देता है जैसे कि IM hall. Now one fine morning his son's birthday is there. So he says, let us celebrate. His papa says, son says, Papa, let me celebrate my 20th birthday. बोलते कहाँ करेंगे? Of course अपने हॉल में करेंगे और यहाँ उन्होंने पार्टी शार्टी कर दी. Now this has been used for non-business purpose. Naturally, he will not take rent from his son, obviously. Now, while filing the return, what will happen? Does he able to take the credit? अगर उसने बता दिया है क्लाइंट ने, तो भी हम कैसे आइडेंटिफाई करें, कैसे प्रोपोर्शनेट डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करेंगे वो 5 दिन के पीरियड में? इट वुड बी रियली चैलेंजिंग इशू फॉर एवरीवन. नाउ अगेन time period of 15 days, if it is remain short, then the SSC may go and make an application to the commissioner, sir please extend the time limit. So in respect of certain class of taxable person, it can be done. Then details of supplies modified, deleted or included by the recipient and furnished shall be communicated to the supplier concerned in form GSTR 1A. That means जो हमने आपको बताया कि विक्रम भाई ने जब 90,000 किया तो he has to communicated in form number GSTR 1A to me, so that it will come to me and then I have to accept it or reject it. Then if any details furnished for any tax period and remain unmet, supplier shall upon the discovery of any error or omission rectify such error same जो outward के लिए था. If there is any short payment, he has to pay along with interest. Similar rectification के लिए भी next month की September or annual return whichever is earlier, before that you can do the rectification of the outward supply. Then this is the format of GST 2R return. Now friends, this return is in the draft format. That format may be changed. This I am talking about which has been published in the month of June 2016. उसके बाद एक draft loan आया आ गया November 2016 और अभी अप्रैल में अभी एक बन गया. But this draft return rules has not been yet changed. Don't know what will happen. But at this time I am giving you the details as of June 2016. तो ये सारी डिटेल देनी है just like an outward supply, so nothing great is there. So I am just going ahead because I have to finish it within the time. कितना अच्छा भाई? How much time I have? 10 minutes. Time is the essence. Third is the final return. So every registered taxable person, whenever he supply the details of sales as well as purchases, तो अभी क्या रहेगा? कुछ नहीं. बराबर. तो what they will do? They will assimilate all the data of outward supply, inward supply, tax payable under reverse charge, ITC await, tax payable करके आपका return ready हो जाएगा. So you need not have to do anything. Return अपने आप बन जाएगा. आपको कुछ नहीं करना है. From that GSTR 1, GSTR 2, 1A, 2A करके रिटर्न आपका रेडी हो गया. वहाँ टैक्स लायबिलिटी भी हो गई क्योंकि आपने इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट भी आइडेंटिफाई किए, ये अलाउड है, ये नॉट अलाउड है करके. तो बचा क्या? अभी कुछ नहीं. खाली आपको क्या करना है? You have to only make the payment. So when you have to file the return, you have to file the return by 20th of the next month. So 10 दिन में आउट सेल्स रजिस्टर, 15 तारीख को परचेस रजिस्टर, 20 तारीख को रिटर्न. नेक्स्ट 5 दिन में हो जाएगा ना, बाकी कुछ है ही नहीं ज्यादा. रिटर्न तो आपको भरना नहीं है. जैसे अभी क्या है वैट और सर्विस, यू टू इनपुट सो मेनी थिंग्स, यू नीड नॉट हैव टू. अश्विन भाई हेल्प्स अस अ लॉट इन दैट. तो रिटर्न रेडी हो गया, पेमेंट भी आप कर दिया, तो आपका रिटर्न बन गया. ये सिंपल है. Now part A of the return shall be electronically generated on the basis of information furnished through GSTR 1, 2 and other liability of the preceding tax period. ठीक है? Taxable person have to discharge his tax liability, interest, penalty, fees by debiting electronic cash ledger as per the details contained in part D. There are two registers: electronic cash ledger, electronic credit ledger. ये किसको मेंटेन करने का? अगेन वी नीड नॉट हैव टू डू एनीथिंग, जीएसटीएन है ना, दैट दे विल मेंटेन. So in electronic cash ledger, whatever cash payment you make, that will be credited in your account. जैसे आपकी बैंक में आप अमाउंट डिपॉजिट करते हो तो अमाउंट क्रेडिट हो जाती है, तो आपको इलेक्ट्रॉनिक कैश लेजर में अमाउंट क्रेडिट हो गई. तो इलेक्ट्रॉनिक क्रेडिट लेजर क्या है? उसमें whatever goods or services you are procured during the month and on which that transaction is matched, that credit will go to electronic credit ledger. वो वहाँ क्रेडिट हो गया. Again this will be maintained by GSTN network. तो आपका सारा क्रेडिट, कैश और क्रेडिट वहाँ जमा हो गया. फिर तीसरा एक लेजर है उसको इलेक्ट्रॉनिक टैक्स लायबिलिटी रजिस्टर. उसमें क्या जाएगा? उसमें व्हाटएवर इज योर टैक्स लायबिलिटी एज पर जीएसटीआर 1, बराबर है, सप्लाई साइड भरेंगे वो आपकी वहां चली जाएगी. सो एट द एंड ऑफ द मंथ व्हाट यू हैव टू डू? यू टू टेक द इलेक्ट्रॉनिक कैश लेजर, कितना पैसा है मेरा उसमें, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक क्रेडिट लेजर, कितनी मेरी इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट है, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक टैक्स लायबिलिटी रजिस्टर, कितनी मेरी आउटवर्ड लायबिलिटी है, ये देखने का. फिर चौथा रजिस्टर कौन सा देखने का? बैंक स्टेटमेंट देखने का. हाँ, ऑफ कोर्स. तो 9 तारीख को यू हैव टू बी वेरी मच रेडी. योर डैशबोर्ड शुड हैव ऑल दिस 4 रजिस्टर. मॉर्निंग, एवरी मॉर्निंग यू हैव टू सिट, यू हैव टू वेक अप, टेक द प्रे द गॉड फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, बोलना मत, and then see all the register and check whether you have to pay or you have to receive something. And if you have 5 or 10 places all over India, सबका आपको देखना पड़ेगा. And if a company is having 5, 6 other associated enterprise, तो उसके accountant के लिए बहुत अच्छी opportunity है. Tremendous, because now he has to look into account so many accounts, and then he has to discharge the tax liability. Then what is next? कमिश्नर अगर 20 दिन आपको कम पड़ गया तो कमिश्नर will extend the time period in respect of certain class of person. Then this tax GSTR 3 that has to be filed whether or not any supplies of goods or services or both have been made during such period. They have to file the return, nothing more. आपका कोई ट्रांजैक्शन उसमें है या नहीं है, you have to file the return. ठीक है? If there exists any discovery, any omission or incorrect particulars in the return, अभी return revise करने का, और कभी then registered taxable person shall rectify such omission or incorrect particulars in the return to be furnished for the month or quarter during which such omission or incorrect particulars are noted. तो उसको जब भी पता चला कि ये मेरी प्रॉब्लम है, तो नेक्स्ट उसमें जब भी उसे पता चला in that particular month or quarter he has to change it. However, he is liable to pay interest if there is any short payment of tax. लेकिन वहाँ एक दूसरा बता दिया. Suppose if there is any scrutiny or a audit or inspection or enforcement department has taken any action and they have come to know that this is an incorrect particular, then you cannot do that. तो ये उन्होंने बता दिया. And rectification again same time period is there, next month की September month or the annual return whichever is earlier. Then registered taxable person shall not be allowed to furnish a return for a tax period if the return for any of the previous tax period has not been furnished by him. अभी क्या होता है VAT के रिटर्न्स में you can file the return for any period. पहले मैं फाइल कर दूंगा मार्च महीने का, फिर मैं फाइल करूंगा जनवरी 17, लेकिन यहाँ ऐसा पॉसिबल नहीं है. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल यू टू डू द फाइल द रिटर्न ऑफ द अर्लियर टैक्स पीरियड, वो सारा बरोबर है तो ही आप नया रिटर्न फाइल कर सकते हैं. सो दे आर टोटली इन होता है, कोई मैस नहीं चाहिए. FIFO method, first in first out. Even in tax payment it is like that. Whenever you are making the tax payment, बोलते हैं पहले मैं liability adjust करूँगा पहले पीरियड की, फिर current period की tax period अगर करूँ, and lastly if there is any demand. This is how the whole mechanism will work. Then, in respect of other returns, GSTR 4 returns है, that is in respect of a compounding taxpayer, that means you are discharging tax liability under a composition scheme. 50 lakhs के नीचे वाले छोटे टैक्स पेयर के लिए उसको कभी भरना है 18th of the next quarter. They have to file quarterly return. GSTR फाइल करना है by the non-resident foreign taxpayer. 6 नंबर का फाइल करना है for the input service distributor. 7 number is for return for tax deducted at source, that we call government agency. Then 9 and 9B. This is the annual return which has to be filed by the taxpayer. Then further it says that if your turnover is more than 1 crore rupees, then you have to get your accounts audited by a practicing chartered accountant or a cost accountant. So this is another opportunity for all of us that we can do the audit of, just like in VAT audit. Unfortunately, in the income tax act, limit is of 2 crore rupees has been set, but here it's 1 crore. Again, now there is a mismatch. So this audit function is also there. Then the final return. Whenever a registered taxable person who applies for the cancellation or surrender of the registration certificate, he has to file a final return, just like in the VAT laws. उसको final return बनना है and the assessment will be done. Then last is the defaulting furnishing return. If I make the default in filing the return, that means outward return, inward supply return, then what will happen? It says only a late filing fees of ₹100 for every day during which default continues. However, that late file will not extend 5,000 rupees. तो अगर आपने वे 10, 15 और 20 तारीख वायोलेट कर ली तो पर मंथ 15,000 की पेनल्टी है, सॉरी लेट फाइलिंग फीस है, मल्टीप्लाई बाय 12 एंड मल्टीप्लाई बाय नंबर ऑफ स्टेट. फेल्स टू फर्निश द एनुअल रिटर्न बाय द ड्यू डेट, दैट मींस आपको जो फाइनल ऑडिट रिपोर्ट सबमिट करना है, इफ यू फेल देन ₹100 फॉर एवरी डे ड्यूरिंग व्हिच सच फेलियर कंटिन्यूज, सब्जेक्ट टू अ मैक्सिमम ऑफ 0.25% ऑफ द टर्नओवर इन द स्टेट. This is the late filing fees. Now, since this is a late filing fees, this is non-appealable. Mandatorily, everyone has to pay. Now, the legislature is very smart. They will not use the word penalty. Penalty रखेंगे तो उसको चांस मौका देना पड़ेगा. तो नहीं, हमें कोई मौका नहीं. There is no discretionary power has been provided to officer. हाँ, one very important. यहाँ officer normally we say officer. यहाँ बोलते हैं proper officer. This is the difference. Why proper officer? I don't understand. Why they use such terminology?
Earlier there were no proper.
That's what. That is the reason. So till now there were no proper officers. So now in GST and now everyone is a proper officer. So these are the returns which has to be filed. So now by going through this, now please give me a reply. How many returns one has to file? One simple SSC. 3 returns in a year. मल्टीप्लाई बाय 12, सो 36 रिटर्न्स. उसके बाद एक एनुअल रिटर्न आ जाएगा तो 37 रिटर्न आ जाएगा और एक ऑडिट आ जाएगा. कितने रिटर्न सालाना करने हैं? सो पीपल वर सेइंग दैट अरे इतने रिटर्न भरने हैं, बट डोंट वरी, एट प्रेजेंट आल्सो यू आर फाइलिंग दिस मनी रिटर्न्स अंडर डिफरेंट लॉ. अंडर वैट में आप एक कर रहे हो, एक्साइज में रिटर्न फाइल कर रहे हो, सर्विस टैक्स. सो इफ यू सबमिट अप इट्स ऑल वन एंड द सेम. सो डोंट गो इनटू दैट वरी. Ultimately, it's all one and the same. खाली ये यहाँ से पकड़ो कि ऐसे पकड़ो, it's all one and the same. But you have to do the compliance, otherwise it would be very difficult. Last, this is the just a summary in a flow chart I have provided that how the return would be filed. And with this, I am concluding my session over here. I am very much thankful to the chamber as well as to all of you to patiently hear one of the student, and thank you very much to all of you.
Good afternoon everyone, dignitaries on the dais, off the dais and to participants. I have been given a pleasant task of extending a well-deserved vote of thanks